getting ready for eternity, there are two things you must have. One of them, because if, for example, a Nigerian is relocating to an English-speaking nation, you don't have to bother. But if you're moving to a Francophone nation, you have to learn French. I don't know if I'm saying something. You have to learn French. In heaven, there may be no prayer meeting, because there may be no need for prayer meeting. But in heaven, two things over there. We will speak the language. There is the language of the Spirit. We will speak the language when we get there. Number two, we will worship Him. Because we're going to join the elders in heaven, lifting up holy hands and bow before the Master. His Majesty. Lift your two hands to heaven. Appreciate Him in the Holy Ghost. Lozanda bo shadamana manakonde bo shadaba. Likunde bo satebrondo sikabaha. Draw me close to you and never let me go.
I lay it all down again to hear
you say that I'm your friend. You I desire
my desire.
No one else will do. No one else will do.
Cause nothing else
To take your place.
feel
the world, to feel the warmth of your embrace. Let me find a way. Lead me back to you. Open your Bible to Luke chapter 19, verse 27. Thank you, my Father. In this first service, something definite and tangible is about to happen to somebody. It's been announced that this is our year of greater glory and greater works. Greater glory and greater works. Jesus said, greater things shall ye do because have been crying to the Lord, Father, let your glory fill my life. Let your glory fill the house like the waters cover the sea. Let your glory. I want to see your glory like I've never seen before in my few years of walking with you. I want to see your power. I want to see your glory. I want to see your glory. Like as it was of old in a greater dimension. I want to see your power. Is there no balm in Gilead, the sick said? Is there no God that settles lives? the afflicted says. Lift your two hands and just love him. Just stand. Sweep over my soul. Sweep over my soul. Sweet Spirit. Sweep over my soul. Sweep over my soul. Sweep over my soul. Sweet Spirit, sweep over my soul. My heart is at rest when I kneel at your feet. Sweet Spirit, sweep over my soul. It's about those my enemies which would not that I should reign over them. He said, bring either and slay them. Luke chapter 10 verse 19. Luke 10:19. He said, behold, I give unto you power. Somebody shout power here. To tread on serpents, scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy. Somebody shout power of the enemy. I can't hear you. Somebody shout power of the enemy. In Matthew 13:25, as it were, and 28. Matthew 13:25 and 28. He said, but why men slept? Somebody shout his enemies. I can't hear you. Somebody shout his enemies. Came and sold us. And verse 28 says, he said unto them, an enemy has done this. If you go to Luke 20 verse 43, Luke 20 verse 43, thank you my Father. Till I made thy enemies thy footstool. God said to Jesus, sit on my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool. I want to share briefly this morning on what I titled the 4 enemies of 2020. Let me preach to somebody. Say the 4 enemies of 2020. I can't hear you. Well, turn to somebody and say the 4 enemies of 2020. Everyone as it were so desires to be great this year. There is nobody, if I'm not mistaken, who has a lesser understanding of what they desire this year, as it were, outside the place of greatness. Am I talking to somebody? Every one of us want to be counted among the high flyers. Every one of us want to be celebrated this year. Everyone wants to have an outstanding performance compared to what it used to be. And the Bible told us, as it was declared, that this is our year of greater glory and greater works. It means that whatever you saw me achieve last year is just nothing compared to what God is about to do this year. Many have made resolutions. Many have made all kinds of prophetic statements, but at the end of it all, maybe it ended in futility. But I came to prophesy this morning, 2020 will not go like other years. There is something that is about to happen. I hear the voice of the Lord. This year the lines will fall to you in pleasant places. God is about to give you a goodly inheritance. If you are that person, shout, I receive it. I receive it. Yeah. I prophesy. I receive. Stretch your hands towards this altar. I prophesy. I receive. This year we vomit your celebration. I said this year we produce your next level. There is somebody by the virtue of this year, where they used to meet you, they will no longer meet you there. I said the next time they come, your level is changing. The Bible says, as it were, on the first day they buried him in the grave, but when they came back on the third day, he was no longer there. And the angel the living among the dead. I prophesy that the reason of this encounter 2020 is about to change your status. This year, as you write your life story, you will write concerning this year that this is the year that heaven settled me at last. This was the year of my explosion. Is the year of my celebration. Is the year when the Lord turned again the captivity of Zion. Is the year of my celebration. Am I talking to somebody? Every man has a year. In the year 2019, Brother Charles will tell you of his marriage. I came to prophesy. This year, your marriage will be talked about. Your promotion will be talked about. Your celebration will be talked about. I prophesy in Isaiah chapter 6 verse 1. He said, in the year King Uzziah died, I prophesy this year, any stubborn enemy on assignment against your greatness, if I hear your amen, they go down. If I hear your amen, they go down. If you believe it, shout hallelujah like thunder. He said, all my enemies that don't wish that I reign over them, say, gather them and slay them. Why did I take my test scriptures from multiple dimensions of enemies? And I deliberately didn't go to enemy matters that has to do with the Old Testament, because I needed to establish to somebody that enemies are real. Take your seat, please. Enemies are real, but more real is God. Am I speaking to someone? And he said in Matthew 13, he said, an enemy has done what? Talk to me, church. He said, an enemy has done this. In Matthew 13, Jesus said, an enemy has done this. In Luke 19, he said, all my enemies that don't wish that I reign over them. That means there are enemies of your reign. Am I talking to somebody? There is an enemy behind your affliction. I often say to people, behind every evil there is a devil, but behind every good there is God. You know, wonder he said the other day, every good and perfect gift cometh from the Lord. I came to announce, I don't know who's hearing the sound of my voice, but God is about to take care of the matters that troubles your rising. Heaven is about to cause you to settle. There is about to be a by force settlement. I say by force settlement. He said, for with a strong hand will I deliver my children out of captivity. With a strong hand. That is what I call by force settlement. I don't know the powers contending your greatness, but by fire, by force, this year you will cry, you will be celebrated. This year you will be congratulated. This year you will dance your own song. If you believe it, shout fire 3 times. Fire! 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 It says, sit on my right side until I make thy enemies thy footstool. You know what that means? Until I make you trample on your enemies. Relax here. Who was God talking to? He was talking to Jesus, his own son. He said, sit, and God said to my Lord, sit on my right side until I make even thy enemies thy footstool. I prophesy. I don't know the enemy on assignment. Is it family enemy? Is it business enemies? Is it enemies in the workplace? Is it enemies of your, am I speaking here? There are enemies of your open doors. There are enemies of your promotion. The enemies of your next level. But I speak over your life. After today, they expire by fire. Listen, take your seat. He said, I have set before you an open door. But what is it? Effectual and the fervent, effectual door has been opened, but many are your adversaries, enemies. How How do you say there is an open door and there's an enemy? Psalm 23. It said, thou anointest my head with oil. Thou furnished a table for me. Where my table is furnished, enemies are still present. He said, I am taking you to a land that flows with milk and honey. But in that land, there are Hittite, Jebusite. Am I speaking to somebody? It gives me a better understanding that even though the breakthrough is there, there are enemies to contend with. And until you have an understanding of warfare, you may never enjoy your warfare. It said, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. It said, for right from the day of John the Baptist, the kingdom of God suffereth violence, and the violent taketh it. Talk to me, church. Taketh it. Taketh it. 2020 will not only answer to you because you so wish. It will not only answer because you desire. It will answer because you consciously place a demand on this year. You tell yourself by faith that this is my year. There is nothing the devil can do about it. I was preaching a few days back and I told them, I preached a message I titled 2020 is not in the hand of God. It's not in God's hands, because we've been blessed with all spiritual blessings in heavenly places. It's in your hand, having an understanding and a readiness to assess what heaven has prepared for you. Am I talking to somebody? You will not sing the old song this year. God told me, he said he will give somebody a new song. There is a new song for you this year. It's the song of triumph. It's the song of victory. It's the song of victory. If you are the owner, shout and receive it. I refuse to sing the long song in a strange land. Kimana Zondobo. Somebody shout the 4 enemies of 2020. The 4 enemies. There can be order as revelation reveals to every man, but these are the 4 I have to talk about this morning. Am I talking to somebody? The first enemy to contend with this year is evil ears. Somebody shout evil ears.
Evil ears.
Say it like you mean it. Somebody shout evil ears.
Evil ears.
Say it like a Christian. Somebody shout evil ears.
Evil ears.
There are ears that must not hear your matter this year, or else this year may go like other years. There are evil ears. Somebody shout evil ears. There are demonic ears that have been programmed to collect your information to their central processing unit, where they process it and abort it if care is not taken. Am I talking to somebody here? There are destiny aborters. If you agree with me, in every strategic security setting, there's what they call intelligent unit. The intelligent unit is like an information gathering unit. It is the information they gather that the strike force uses to strike. Am I speaking to somebody? In the demonic world, there are people who have been programmed with evil ears to gather information. The computer is useless if information is not imputed. Am I talking to somebody? If they can't get your data, they can't process your destiny. It is your data they collected that they are using to process your destiny. But I came to announce to somebody with this mouth that I used to pray, any evil ear programmed against you this year, if I hear your amen, that ear go deaf. I said that ear go deaf. I said that ear go deaf. That ear go deaf. That ear go deaf. If you believe it, shout fire like thunder. Hey! Somebody will say, man of God, what has an evil ear to do with my 2020? Almost everything. Almost. And Laban said to Jacob, Experience has taught me. Experience has taught me that since you entered my house, God has blessed me. Experience has taught me. Am I talking to somebody? Most times when the devil wants to manipulate or gather data from you, they program into you an intimate person. Intimacy, relationship, closeness not properly defined can give the devil a comfortable platform to tap into your database. That's why my Bible told me a man's greatest enemies are members of his household. Nobody can succeed you as it were like somebody that is around you. Nobody can achieve you like somebody that shares closeness. Bible says when David heard that Ahithophel was among his conspirators, he took the matter to another level. That's when he ran to the altar and said, oh God, turn the counsel of Ahithophel into foolishness. Am I speaking to somebody? You know why? Because Ahithophel has access to his database. Any man that has access to your data can control your destiny. Is somebody in church this morning? The Bible told me in Genesis 27 verse 5 and 6, there was a woman called Rebekah. As it were, Rebekah was the mother of Esau and the wife of the covenant one called Isaac. And then the Bible says it came a time Isaac was in love with his first son, and he called his first son, he said, my son Esau. He said, get me vanishing such that I love, that my soul will bless you. Somebody shout bless, bless, bless. One of the greatest things you must not miss in life is not inheritance, is not properties, is the blessing. The Bible says, for the blessings of the Lord make it rich and added no sorrow. When Esau missed the best right, he did not cry, but when he missed the blessing, the Bible says he wept. Why did he cry? Because he has an understanding that if you lose the birthright and peradventure gets the blessing, with the blessing you can still have a right, but if you miss the blessing, it will take you a battle to survive. Am I speaking to someone here? He said, come, let me bless you. So Esau cried. But how did Esau miss the blessing? If you don't want to miss the blessings of 2020, then handle evil ears. There are evil ears in your office. There are evil ears in your church. There are evil ears in your family. There are people that should travel on the day of your coronation. There are people that should not be around on the day heaven has chosen to discuss your matter. Am I talking to someone? Bible said the angel appeared. You know what the angel said? I am one that standeth in the presence. Doing what? So they hear when they talk your matter. Is somebody hear what I'm saying? And they listen. And the Bible says why Isaac was talking to Esau. He says, son Esau, get me vanishing such that I love, that my soul will bless you. There are many of you today, you would have been married if not for evil ear. You would have been better than this if not for evil ear. There are people that should be taken unaware. They can only hear the news of your arrival, not the news of your process. Because if they hear about your process, they abort it. They abort it. And the Bible says, suddenly, what's her name? Rebecca beckoned on Jacob. He said, Jacob, 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 come here, come here, come here. And Jacob said, Mommy, what is the problem? And he said, my son, your father most probably is about to exit. And then he wants to transfer. Somebody said transfer. Because the blessing is a transfer. He wants to transfer what makes him him. Listen to me. It's not my car that makes me. It's what I carry that makes me. That's what the Bible says. The abundance of a man does not consist in what he has. For greater is he that is in me. The blessing is in me. The car is outside of me. So when you look at my car, you miss. And he said, and Rebekah said to Jacob, verse 5, quickly. Can we read it together like Mass Choir? Shout it. No, just read that line. And scream the word head. Who head? Who is Rebekah? Huh? Mother to who? To Esau. Bible says, and Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau, his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt for venison and to bring it. Verse 6. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob my son, saying, behold, I heard thy father spake unto Esau, thy brother say. I heard. Who have heard? Ask your neighbor, so who heard? Your wedding date is a battle today because somebody heard. Your marriage is shaking because somebody heard. Somebody heard when your husband said that he wants to decorate you, and they made up their mind to undecorate you. Who heard? That was his mother. His mother. The one that carried him for 9 months heard. And began to plot. He said, come, we must not allow him collected. Am I speaking to someone here? And then this time, please permit me. I don't want to dwell on the legality of Rebekah's operation, because Rebekah was not as guilty as charged. Because there is an understanding that Rebekah had that made her most probably did what she did, or do what she did. Am I talking to somebody? Because while Rebekah was pregnant with the babies, Bible said there was a trouble in her womb. And then she inquired of the Lord, what is this battle with my pregnancy? One of the greatest assets you can have is a sensitive parent. The worst thing that can happen to you is to have a father who is deaf and dumb, blind, spiritual, physical. To have a mother who all her excitement is changing makeups and changing geles and wardrobe without any form of spiritual sensitivity. Luke 160, what's her name? Elizabeth reacted when they came to continue the pattern of the husband. He said, not so. In Genesis, the Bible says, because Benoni gave birth to because Rachel gave birth to Benoni in pain to Benjamin, she wanted to name him according to her condition, and the father reacted, not so. I told you in the fire night that there are some of us, we are like Jabez. We had no Elizabeth, we had no Jacob, so we grew up like Jabez. At old age, if you still live yourself like this, then you are a problem to the next generation. Because the Bible says, a wise father leaveth an inheritance for the children. I don't just want to live for my children material profitings. I want to live a clear atmosphere, a sensitive spiritual platform wherein they do life without struggle, handling the patterns and the foundation, addressing the matters that stopped others. Because whether you like it or not, until the Redeemer comes, no redeemed is redeemed. And the Bible says in Obadiah, upon the mount a savior shall arise. Somebody shout, I'm a savior to my house. I said the first enemy of 2020 is what? Somebody shout evil ear. You are struggling most probably because of an evil ear. Because they can go anywhere. The Bible said there were some men who binded themselves together with a oath that they will not eat or drink until they see Paul die. With a oath. The enemy followed Jesus from birth to death. Even in death, still didn't stop. Because even while he was buried, enemies were still walking. They say, seed the tomb so that his disciples don't come to take him. Even after he manifested resurrection, they still conspired and paid men and said, go to the city and announce that he did not resurrect, he was stolen. Evil ear. And the Bible said, and the was his Herod. He said to the wise men, say, go. When you find him, bring me words. If they had gone back to give that ear that information, an abortive process would have taken place. Say, I heard when your father spake. I was saying something that you don't have to blame Rebecca completely, because Rebecca had an understanding that the senior was serving the younger. God said, you are pregnant with two nations. He said, for the older shall serve the younger. That was the pregnancy. So she played her part as it were, but that's not my focal point for today. My focal point is the evil ear that heard it. It can be your mother. It can even be a brother. And that was how the plot took place. How many of you know that Esau didn't get the blessing? He didn't get it. The mother so orchestrated it that even the father recognized by some matters, because when Esau came, the father said, he that took the blessing just left here scarcely. That means he just stepped out when you stepped in. That was an orchestrated orchestration. Am I speaking to somebody? If 2020 must work, you must be careful who hear your matter. Don't talk everywhere, because there are evil ears. So that your battles don't become so prolonged and it looks as if nothing is happening. Am I talking to somebody here? I speak over someone here by the power of the Holy Ghost. Any ear that is on assignment against your settlement, against your prophetic release, against your destiny jubilation, if I hear that amen again, that ear go deaf. Somebody shout evil ear. The second enemy that you must contend with this year is evil speakers. Bible says, let not an evil speaker be established in the face of the earth. Let not an evil speaker. Sir, if they hear and they can't talk, you are still safe. But make sure they can't even write. Because Zechariah could not talk but still could write. Because when they got to Zechariah, the Bible says he wrote. He wrote. He wrote. Eh? He wrote. Ma? Yes. Okay, he said they need stroke so they can't write. I release it for your enemies. And Zechariah was dumb and he had to write. When Jesus refused to speak on the accusation of the adulterous woman, what he did was to write. Habakkuk chapter 2 said, write the vision, make it plain. That means people may not say it, but they can write it. Am I talking to somebody? God said to Moses when he had an encounter with God, he said, Moses, write this on a tablet. It shall be for a memorial. There are documents that have been written that has the power to abort your destiny. Evil writings. There are evil writings. Many years ago, in the course of youthful exuberance, there were some places some youth went to. They will write something they call Rubutu. They will write something, wash it inside something they give you to drink. It's called Rubutu. Don't bother to know what I'm saying, but you can go and find it. There are evil writings. There are satanic documentations. But what I speak about is evil speakers. And I said, in 2020, if your destiny must be on the platform of uncommon speed and acceptance, there are voices that must go dumb. I believe that as long as Zechariah can talk, Elizabeth may never give birth. Because while the angel was speaking to him, he was saying something as it were. And the angel said, shh. Outside we say Ishuru. Igbo we say Mechonu. Abi? Eh? Esaka will say kokunu. Kokunu. But quiet! You won't speak until this manifestation comes to be. You won't speak. I have said it here before and I say it again. You can barb the hair of Samson, but if you don't close his mouth, it can still come back again. Am I talking to somebody? Because as much as the secret of Samson was on his hair, but the new covenant is in our mouth. Am I speaking to someone? It said, whosoever shall say to this mountain, and doubt not. So we have the power in our mouth. It said the word of God is nigh thee. The word is in your mouth. I came to announce, I think in Matthew 18:18, it said whosoever, whatever we bind on earth is bind in heaven. I came to announce to somebody, 2020 will be your year of distinguishment. Somebody shout it to say dumb. 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 Evil ear. Deaf. Evil speaker. Go dumb. Any voice speaking against my rising, speaking against my settlement, speaking against my decoration, speaking against my honor. You know what the Bible called the devil? He called him the accuser of the brethren. To accuse means to accuse. He called him the accuser of the brethren. The Bible says in Job that while the sons of God gathered, Satan also came. What did he come to do? And he said, God said, have you considered my servant Job? And Satan replied, is it not because? Is it not because? That is the pattern of communication most times with evil speakers. They undermine your rising and bring out a possible suggestion to undermine you. Is it not because? It said, for when he was set down. Can we read this together? 1, 2, go. On the judgment seat, his wife sent unto him, saying, somebody shout, saying, 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 have thou nothing to do with that just man, for I have suffered many things this day in a dream because of him. Whoever has made you a project, they will suffer from today. You know what the woman said? Said, I have suffered. Whoever has made you a project. Listen, the Bible says Saul made David his enemy continually. There are people that can't rest. They make you an enemy continually. They try one, you escape, they bring another. Bible says, listen to me, the king was already seated on the judgment seat, ready to pass judgment on the case of Jesus. And then the wife said, I had a troubled night. He said, I have nothing to do with that just man. Can we read the other part? Verse 20. 1, 2, go. 20. 21. 21 now. Let me say something quickly. As soon as the wife spoke to him, an exchange took place. Listen, 2 things took place. Number 1, he washed his hands. Bible says he demanded for water because of the sayings. He was already seated to getting ready to marry you. He was already set to release the check. He was already set to bring your promotion. He was already set to make you happy in 2020. Suddenly somebody said, and the Bible says he demanded for water and washed his hands. How many times people who would have helped you suddenly wash their hands from your matter because of what they heard? Am I talking to somebody? Bible says he demanded, was already seated to do judgment, but heard something and washed his hands. Do you know he still did something? But now there was an exchange. What did they do? The matter he would have decided became a chorus for others to talk about. And the Bible said they released Barabbas instead of Jesus. So the release that would have been Christ by virtue of that judgment was perverted to Barabbas. Why? Because somebody said something. But again, the legality of the matter, like I said in the case of Rebecca, is that he actually, if he had released him, would have been doomed. So as much as I speak about evil speakers, I also want you to understand, because that woman only came to act a part of the script, to establish it as it was prophesied in scriptures that this man is a just man. When Barabbas was released, because my Bible told me Barabbas was a condemned criminal. When Barabbas was released and the just man was crucified, Jesus, the Bible says, he that knew no sin became sin. He didn't become a sinner. He became sin. So when Jesus was crucified, sin was nailed to the cross. When Barabbas, the sinner, was released, the sinner was released. So at that judgment position was when redemption took place. The sinner released, the sin condemned. So when he passed judgment to condemn sin, because he that knew no sin became sin, not a sinner. Oh God. So that's what the Bible taught me, that the devil regretted. Say, if we had known, we would not have crucified the Lord of glory. Because as at when he was judged against, sin was on the cross, and the sinner became free in the street. Barabbas, like me, who became sin by our Adamic nature, began to walk free. Because why? Barabbas has been released. My sin has been condemned. Am I talking to somebody here? But my focal point for my message this year, imagine if that voice had spoken on the contrary. Imagine how many persons have washed their hands off your case because of what they heard. Can I take you to Esther? When Vashti refused to dance, the king didn't decide until Momuka spoke. He said, Oga, if you don't do something, all the women in this country will begin to misbehave. And that propelled the king to act. Stretch your hand, make I give you prayer. I give you prophecy. Listen to me. Listen. There is a particular president of a country that is going through a battle of his office. And some of the strategic witnesses who came to witness, you know what they were saying? We overheard on a phone conversation. Overheard. The ear that heard became the voice that is speaking as a witness against them. Overheard. There was a time I remember. Okay, as it, Pastor Ken, my wife came to me and whispered and said, the way this young man is carrying family and everything, he get as he be. What, honey, what can we do for him? And that gave birth to his car. The speaker that spoke. 2020, your success can cheaply come if the voice is in your favor. Yes, sir. I'm talking about having concluded your 12th night, still on the process of completing the 40 days, fasting and prayer. In the process, you need to cry to heaven to readjust and recontrol the ears around you and the voices that speaks for you or speak against you. Am I talking to somebody? And Memuka said, you know what the Bible told me? That when it was time to honor Mordecai, the Bible says the king sent, Emma came, and the king sent to Emma, what shall be done for the man whom the king desire to honor. It was the speakings of Haman that became the honor of Mordecai. It was the sayings of Haman that became the honor of Mordecai. How can a judge sit on the throne and suddenly change judgment because of what the wife told him? Am I speaking to someone here? Somebody shout evil ear. I prophesy, any evil speaker on assignment against your ear, that evil speaker go dumb. I said they go dumb, they go dumb, they go dumb, they go dumb. I hear this year we vomit your celebration. I kept hearing this for days now, and I heard it through the night. God said I should announce this is the year you will dance to your music. I said there is a new song for somebody, and it's the song of victory. It's the song of triumph. I say it's your song of triumph. I hear a new song, a new song, a new song. Somebody shout, I receive it. Shout, I receive it. I receive it. Take your seat. God help me. Number 3 enemy of 2020 to handle is household wickedness. Somebody say household wickedness. Say it like a Christian. Say household wickedness. Familiar spirit. Household wickedness. Can I say something? It doesn't matter who says. There is a voice that says, and it is largely believed, except God help you. Can I say something? If a stranger say you will at home, it may be contended. But when your wife say you the peaceful house, it will take God and proper investigation to reconfirm that you are sincere. Did you hear what I said? Yes, sir. When your wife say you the peaceful house, household wickedness. Somebody said to me, man of God, how do you explain it? Church, answer me now. In Genesis chapter 4, who was the problem? Who killed Abel? Who killed Abel? Talk to me. Who killed Abel? In Genesis chapter 4 verse 8, who killed Abel? In Genesis 27 verse 5, can we read some things? Genesis 4 verse 8. Let me show you something. Let me tell you how it is. Genesis 4 verse 8. He said, and Cain talked with Abel, his brother. Somebody say it with me. And Cain talked with Abel, his who? His brother. And it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slay him. The word slay means killed. Bible kept emphasizing his brother. And Cain killed his brother. So when I talk about household wickedness, I'm talking about household wickedness. Wickedness is real. That's why I started by making you see enmity in the scriptures. I'm not saying you major on it, but you handle it. Even Jesus, seated on the right hand of the Father, still had enemies to contend with. God said, until I make thy enemies thy footstool. That means even Christ, Bible said, let God arise and his enemies. Whose enemies? His enemies. He said, if the ways of a man pleases his God, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. I prophesy, anyone waiting for you to fail, they will wait in vain. I said they will wait in vain. I don't know who is in the church hearing the sound of my voice. Anyone waiting for you to fail, they will wait in vain. I said they will wait in vain, because heaven has decided to settle you by force. I said by force. This is the year. You don't want it, God is bringing it. You may not expect it, but heaven is enforcing it. He said the Lord shall supply all my needs. You may be looking for what you want, but by the forces of favor and supernatural intervention, God will bring to you what you need. Hello dear. Peter was sleeping, God was walking. Acts chapter 12. Peter was sleeping, God was walking. He was sleeping. Yet an angel came and removed him. He was in the process of breakthrough. He thought he was in a dream. And no wonder the Bible told me, when the Lord turned again the captivity of Zion, were like they that dream. It means that you they sleep, yet God they walk. Somebody traveled 10 hours. I mean 11 hours on board, moving from a nation to another nation, from a continent to another continent. And then a larger part of the flight, most probably the person slept. He was sleeping, yet destiny was processing. Oh God. He was sleeping on board, yet he was making progress. Sleeping but progressing. Sleeping on board, yet he was making progress. You know what brings you to that realm? If you can pay the price. There is a price you pay, you go to rest, the thing go to work. Not everybody work for money. There are people who money has begun to work for. That's what the Bible says, labor to enter into your rest. You get vacation, Allah won't finish you. That is your portion this year. Somebody didn't hear what I said. All you need is buy ticket, get visa. I was sharing with people. Let me tell you why you need to handle household enemies. Can I talk to you? Do you know America is far? Huh? Let me say by direct flight 10, 11 hours. Huh? To certain part. Now Europe is far. Is it true? But can I talk to you that Europe don't have problem with you? America don't have problem with you. China don't have problem with you. Your problem is your country. Sit down, let me explain. The embassy that refused you to fly is not in America. Somebody said deal with household enemies. Where the embassy there? That means if Nigeria give you visa, America go. Tell your neighbor, say handle household wickedness. Handle it. 2020. Handle it. Be smart. Be smart. Be vigilant. Be sober. Be sensitive to the leadings and the workings of the Holy Ghost. Be smart. Am I talking this morning? I prophesy. Nations are waiting for you. Nations are waiting for you. I said nations are waiting for you. This is your year. I said this is your year. This is your year. If you believe it, shout I receive it. In Matthew 10:36, a man's greatest enemies, man's greatest foes. Matthew 10:36. Thank you, my Father. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. Who killed Abel? Huh? Genesis 27 verse 5. Who deprived Esau of the blessing? Genesis 27 verse 5. Who deprived Esau? And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau, his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt. Bros, sorry to use 2020, you may hunt and hunt and hunt and still miss it. Because of an evil ear. Because of household wickedness. It's not Rebecca's stepson. It's Rebecca's son. First child. If pattern want fight me, now my mama I go use. If foundation want frustrate me, now my brother I want use. Am I talking to somebody here? If Papa wants to limit you, is he your wife? Have you not read in your Bible Judges chapter 16? Judges 16 verse 4. Then we jump to verse 12. Judges 16 verse 4. It was Samson's lover. And it came to pass afterward that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. Verse 12. Delilah therefore took new ropes and bound him therewith, and said unto him, the Philistines are upon thee, Samson. And there were liars in wait, abiding in the chamber, and he brake them from off his hands like a thread. Who did they say it was? Lover. Delilah was a lover. The same lover was the household agent wherein the devil came to terminate. Samson died though. He died though. Am I speaking to somebody? He died. Genesis 37 verse 19 and 20. Genesis 37 verse 19 and 20. If you say Cain was a brother, there are conspirators. This one became the conspiracy of brothers, and they said one to another, behold, this dreamer cometh. What do you do because you dream? What do you do because of coat of many colors? What have you done because you choose to be great? Am I speaking to somebody? What was Joseph's problem? Joseph's problem is that, listen to me, if you must be great this year, mind where you talk and how you talk. And Joseph told his brothers his dream, and they hated him. He dreamt again and told them again, and they hated him yet the more. And hatred that metamorphosed into death. Babsa and his brothers. Then the other person said, come now, therefore, let us kill him. Who were the ones talking? Talk to me, church. Who were the ones talking? Listen to me. I grew up with a statement that says, a rat with the house, the 31 with the house, I say, meet the 90% of intelligence report will tell you that certain operations can't succeed until an insider is involved. That's why as soon as something happens, an insider is looking, they look for an insider. Because that's the only way certain matters can go out. Somebody say, I hear her. Matthew 26 verse 14. Even Jesus himself. Somebody shout Jesus. Mati Kabbalah Sutepala. Genesis 26:14. Matthew 26:14. He said that one of the 12 called Judas Iscariot went into the chief priest. I'm one of who? Church, talk to me now. Outsider. Who kissed him? That was one that dipped hand. He said, one of you that put hand in the same bowl with me will deal with, we do my matter. While he was through eating, Jesus said, that which you choose to do, do quick. When I talk about household wickedness, they can slow your pace. They can cause you premature death. Death in your dream, death in destiny. They can terminate that which concerns you. Household wickedness. Whatever it will cost you to handle household wickedness, handle them. Handle them. And one of the ways to handle matters in that direction is to fight sentiment and emotions. If you sense it, Papa said you don't pamper the devil, you hammer the devil. You don't negotiate with demons, you cast out devils. Am I speaking to somebody here? If 2020 you want to enjoy life with 20 fingers, then you must be ready to handle evil ears. Don't just pray about it, fast about it, sacrifice about it, be sensitive about it. Am I talking to somebody here? Many years ago when I won my election as a student union government president, and then I had a meeting with the boss of my institution, and he was laughing and he said to me, they said we are interested in who becomes president because we want to control the students. I said we are not interested. Because why? Anybody that wins, we know how to handle them. So they already have a handling mechanism, so they don't bother to enter into your politics. And then he told me one word that made me refer to him. He said, anybody that has mouth should not hear what you want to say. He said the best person to talk to is the wall, because the walls have ears but they don't have mouth. Household wickedness. Your friend is a friend to another person. In fact, there is even no need to be scared, because you must not have skeletons in your cupboard. They say, let it that come to equity come with clean hands. Clear conscience fears no accusation. You should live a clean life. My wife is seated here. When I met my wife and we were to get married, we were far. I was in school and she was in school. Somehow one day I said to her, I said, honey, you don't nag me. I'm a president of an institution, and all the daughters in the house are thronging around. You don't even do anything. He said something. He said, I don't settle your matter for altar. No, but that's not why I even referred to her. Let me tell you why I referred. One day I said, your friends come around me and you are not perturbed, you are not bothered, you are not worried. And then she made the statement, say, I've told you everything. There's nothing else they will tell you. That's why the Bible said they were both naked and not ashamed. So I've told you everything. There's nothing else anybody will tell you, except it's a frame up. Am I speaking to somebody here? Live a clean life. Go to bed sweet. That's what the Bible said, be anxious for nothing. Don't be interested in another person's tears. Be interested in their joy. It doesn't matter how you fight a good man. His heart will speak for him. It doesn't matter. There's a scripture I fear that my life the way I do. Bible says, whatsoever a man soweth, same shall he reap. That's why I do my best not to be connected to people's tears, but to be connected to your lifting. I often say to people, you can coin words, but you know what happens to men whose hearts are clean is that the more you criticize them, they increase in size. In fact, they didn't know how to go on media until you put them there. So we shall household wickedness. Handle it. Handle it. Please, 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 please. If you must handle household wickedness, you must be ready to consecrate your anointing on your carcass. Bible says the difference between Peter and Judas, they were both household members, is that he prayed for Peter and didn't pray for Judas. He said, Peter, I perceive that the devil wants to sieve you like wheat. He said, but I pray for you. Peter denied him but survived because prayers were made for him. Learn to pray for your wife. Pray for your children. Pray for your workers. The best thing you can do to your workers is to get them spiritual. Bible says, guide your heart with all diligence, for out of it proceeds the issues of life. When you sense anybody close to you that does not value spirituality, pursue them, because they can be infiltrated by the devil. Yes, sir. It doesn't matter how much you give to a carnal man, the devil will still use him. Yes, not be Judas keep pause. His own cousin, like you said. So if you must handle household wickedness, learn to pray for your people. Don't assume them. I speak from my revelation bank. Last night from, is it 12 to 4 a.m., all my HODs, I've marked those that didn't wake up. From 12 to 4, all my HODs were on WhatsApp prayer. The glory of the Lord must overshadow this house. Anyone that will sense slothfulness, we pursue him. This is not the house of God. Is a place of prayers, not a den of whatever. I told them, God told me, church, I know get mind not to be around 10 night in the 12th night. I didn't know until the Lord, it was as if he separated me and said, son, I want to talk with you, and began to deal with me, began to show me things I never see, and began to talk to me on the pattern to take. and tell me what to expect. Am I speaking to someone here? Every one of you must understand, if I can't take you to heaven, let me not take you at all. If you are not ready to make eternity, it's not about being pregnant. It's not about being healed. It's not about prospering. It's not just about dedicating your house. It's about making heaven. If the trumpet sound now, where will you go? Sit down, please. Can I say something of a truth? You can't be full of God and be lacking of gold. The bankruptcy of gold is the emptiness of God. Because in God there is gold, but in gold there is no God. Hebrews 1:9 said, because you have loved righteousness and hated iniquity. Can we read the other one together? Say, my God has anointed thee with what? The oil of gladness above thy fellow. He said, for righteousness exalts a nation, and sin is a reproach. The four enemies of 2020. Number one, evil ear, evil speakers, household enemies. This is my best friend. You still get? Papa said there's nothing like best friend. You still get? How many of you know that you are the one who endorsed the one that killed you? You told your friends, your people, that this is my best friend. There's nothing about me he does not know. Nothing. And that the same friend becomes the instrument of your tears. How do you blame your guy when you told him your best friend knows everything about you, and then your best friend went further to say that thing where they do you every month, where you the whole belly, now because you know get belly, and then the guy said, I better not tell us, and let me tell you, walked away without saying goodbye because of what he heard. How many times those who would have helped you wash their hands off your matter because of what they heard? Suddenly, what was rosy begin to go down. Am I speaking to someone? Time is my friend. Number 4, we take all of. Number 4. Listen to me. Number 4 is strategic and important to me. I said number 1, evil ears. Number 2, evil speakers. Number 3, household wickedness. When I talk about household, there's household uniqueness. There's household good ones. There are people in the household who are wonderful. When they pick up your matter, they make sure you matter where you matter. Not everybody in the house is wicked. Am I talking to somebody here? There are people close to you. Like the other day, the other guys, they said, David, you no longer have the ability to war. He says, stay here so you don't quench the light of Israel. And the Bible said they went and fought, because David said, I am thirsty and I desire to drink of the waters of Babylon, of Bethlehem. The Bible said they went to fight and brought him the waters of Bethlehem. There are household uniqueness. There are brothers you desire to have and always have. There are brothers who will help you succeed. There are sisters, there are wives, but I didn't measure there. That's why I said household wickedness. There is a maid called Naaman's maid that helped Naaman to be free from leprosy. There are household partners as much as there are household wickedness. The last one that you must handle this year, the enemy of 2020. Somebody shout self. Self-control. Self-confidence. Self-belief. Even if there are giants, we are well able. Self. Nobody can help you more than you can help yourself. And now they say you can force a camel or whatever to the river, but you can't force it to do what? Talk to me, church. You can't force it to do what? Somebody shout self. Self-development. If you refuse to develop yourself this year, life may envelop you this year. Self. This is where capacity development comes in. You must pay attention to yourself. The way you pay attention to your looks, pay attention to your content. Am I speaking to somebody? Because your looks has a little to do. Your content is what takes you to continents. Am I talking to somebody here? Somebody shout self. I can't hear you. Somebody shout self. Is it 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 6? It said, for godliness with contentment is great gain. Papa said, what you don't have now, you don't need now. This is not the year to be covetous. It's not the year to be competitive. It's a year to focus on God and let God honor you per face. Am I speaking to somebody? The Bible says, and the prodigal son came to himself. He said, even the hired servants in my father's house are better than this. Tell your neighbor, say, this is the year you need to work on yourself. Come back to yourself. Believe in yourself. Be confident about yourself. Be confident. Being confident of this very thing. For faithful is he who has begun. Who also? I believe in myself. Somebody said to me, he said, your writing is not fine. I said, now this one I take graduate. You will get fine writing, never feel pass English. Look at you. Short you. Tell the person you. Tall you. You are too short. You are too tall. Look at you. Short you. Look horrible. Too fat. Look at you. Look at you. Look like ba. Dry. You yellow papa. He back of pot. Being confident. You see somebody sitting in one corner crying. Why are you crying? You just told me now. I'm too fat. Those are laughing at me. They said, Mama. 2020, you'll suffer till. If you are too tall that you don't need a ladder to change the bulb, you may not be too short not to need your waist to pick a pin. Every man has an advantage. I may not be you. How many of you know that what the rich pay for in the gym is what you enjoy, that you don't have a car yet? So you are not completely disadvantaged. There are some of you now, you can decide to stroll from church to Ojota before you take a bus. But there are people who can't do it. And that's one of their health problems. Some of you can eat anything because you are ready to trek any distance. As you trek, the food go rearrange. Somebody shall say. Church, can I talk to you? You may look at me in my world, but my wife is seated here. Heaven bear me witness. I don't have a sleepless night over my next level. I often say to people, a level you struggle to maintain is not your level. It's not. I have never entered a level I struggle to maintain. No. People will not rest because I'm flying a particular class. No. When the time comes, heaven will honor you there. You must work on yourself. The time you spend looking for who to like you, spend it to develop yourself. When you are developed, people ignore your Please sit down. How many of you know, say there was a time in our life, if you wear trousers when no reach ground, they go to shout, oh, John Pepe. You know what they call John Pepe? John Pepe. It means trousers where they fear ground. Yes, but a man came after proper self-development. He began to wear trousers where no the rich guy became fashion. Yes, sir. Became fashion. Became fashion. This is the year to believe in yourself. It doesn't matter what everybody is saying. What's important is what you have decided to tell yourself. Church, the truth where you not tell yourself, now you go suffer put. I can dwell on self for 2 days. But let me just leave it on this matter. Self. You can't succeed in Gethsemane and not resurrect after death. The success of the cross was the success at Gethsemane. Every great manifestation is a product of great preparation. There's a way you prepare for exam, you go to wait for question paper. But when you are not prepared, you're the lobby made a shift the exam. Because your confidence level is weak. There's a way you know God. I was flying down to Nigeria. I think the last time I was in Ghana, if I'm not mistaken, my flight came to Nigeria and went back. Could not land. While we're coming, there was a turbulence. And I sat down, I crossed my leg. Number one, I know say I'm not spoil person. Number two, I've not lost consciousness with God. He said, my Father is with me always, for I do the things that pleases him. A great man was on board and something happened. And he prayed a simple prayer. Lord, you didn't tell me I will end like this. As soon as he was through praying, the flight behaved. A great man of God was on board his private jet traveling. Before he traveled, his father came and said, what is the living doing among the dead? While he traveled on the air, his jet engine failed, but his God did not fail. You can't have the backings of grace and end up in disgrace. Serve! And I looked and I said to the person by my side who was nervous and shaking, I said, as much as this thing is shaking, I just know that is the author and the finisher. If he causes us to take off, he will cause us to land. If this is how he now decided to end it, I'm happy that I have a destination to go. Paul said to live is Christ and to die is gain, even if we are not dying now. Because I learned that was the message a great man preached last before he died. I only refer to it. Take your seat. Serve. Serve. How many of you know there's a way you prepare for a competition? That in your preparation you are telling your coach, when did it start? When did it start? Because there's something in you that is welling up. Just ready. Hey. So where are they? You even want to test with everything that comes your way. Because you want them to feel the level of your confidence and preparation. You just threaten someone. There's a way you prepare for a competition. An essay that you begin the essay before the essay. You say, Mommy, come, I want to show you something. It's okay, ladies and gentlemen, my name is this. You start debating before the debate. Because there's a confidence level. Another day I will talk to you on the dangers of overconfidence. I know who I am. I believe in myself. Greater is he that is in me. We are conquering territories. We are the generation that our world is waiting for. The reason why my family is the way they are is because I am still in my incubation state. I believe in myself that my family will not end like this. There's something about me. I am not a nobody. I may not be the son of the president, but I carry an anointing of a president. Do you know you can so believe in yourself that your nonsense will make sense? Sit down. Hey! The Bible told me that we are in the image and likeness of God. Huh? So if you see people like me, you just met a robo God. When they meet people like you, maybe they just smell like precious God. Permit my words. If we are the image and likeness, me to the slim is slim, to the fat is fat. Because the God of the Jews is the God of the Gentiles. You are too packaged to look down on yourself. I say it again like I will always say it all over the world. Those of you who are in the seat of condemning people, those of you who are quick to conclude people. I told a young man, when it happened to somebody else, you condemned because it has not happened to you. Now it has happened to you. What do you have to say? What do you have to say? Somebody had an accident, say no pray well. Now you get accident. What happened to you? Stop spiritualizing what you should actualize. Am I talking here? I got my self-confidence. You know what made the prodigal son to keep eating with pigs? When he lost his self-esteem. There's self-esteem, there's self-confidence, there's self-belief. As soon as he came back to himself, what does he do? He came back to his self-esteem. His confidence was intact. He said, who the hired servants in my father's house are better than. He said, I go back. I prefer to eat with the servants in my father to continue eating with pigs. If 2020 you can't work on yourself, then you still have an enemy to contend with. Because the greatest enemy is not the enemy out there, it's the enemy in there. In there. Lift your right hand to heaven. I take pleasure in worshiping. I take pleasure in worshiping. I take pleasure in worshiping you. Lift your two hands, everyone. There is nothing, there is no one to compare with you. I take pleasure in worshiping. I take pleasure in worshiping. I take pleasure in worshiping you. Stretch your two hands. I speak it as I've been commanded. This year will not mock you. This year will not mock you. I decree that in this year shall your celebration be obvious. Your testimony be massive. Lift your right hand and say, Father, as I pray this year, I will dance to my song. I will sing my song. Open your mouth and turn it in praise. Jesus' name. Amen. In the name of Jesus. Amen. In the name of Jesus. Amen. The four enemies of this year will not hold you down. Amen. You have escaped because you have heard the truth. Amen. In Jesus' name. Amen.
You can watch Reverend Fidelis Ayemoba's ministration and messages on social media. Log on to www.youtube.com/Omega Fire Ministries Lagos. Subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to get notification of more amazing videos and messages. For Facebook users, log on to www.facebook.com/OFM Lagos. Like our page and subscribe to the page. Watch any message of your choice in the video section. On Instagram, Follow at 1 Minute with Reverend Fidelis Ayemoba and get a minute's word daily that will transform your life. Enjoy your day with the Word of God, brought to you by Reverend Fidelis Ayemoba. Subscribe to our pages today. You can watch Reverend
Grace, your grace.
Come experience abundant grace and favor as you worship with us at Omega Fire Ministries, Lagos. This is a home that cares for you. You will be empowered with the undiluted Word of God. Receive answers to your prayers. Experience deliverance, the prophetic, and the mighty move of God. Join God's servant, Reverend Fidelis Ayemoba, every week on Sundays by 7 a.m., Tuesdays by 6 p.m., and Fridays by 6 p.m. Venue, Plot 2/3 Kudirat Abiola Way by First Bank Bus Stop, Oregun, Ikeja, Lagos. For inquiries, please call 0816-618-5837. Omega Fire Ministries, Lagos. Come, experience, enjoy.
It's grace, your grace.